I have reviewed so many of these portable emulation devices that I ended up with a wide selection to choose from when I feel like jumping into my old childhood classics. And I gotta say, even with all the devices I've used in the past, some that I still have here that are still pretty competent, this is the one that I find myself coming back to again and again and again. This is the Miyoo Mini, and if you're interested in portable emulation, chances are you already know this device. It's been pretty popular on the internet. It's a little hard to come by right now. Stock is a little low on most online retailers. People who want to get the Miyoo Mini find themselves having to wait a few weeks for shipping times and things like that. And there is a reason for that. This device is by far one of my favorites to date. It isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and in fact, I want to cover some of the issues I've had with this device. It's given me some trouble in getting it to function exactly the way I want it. Like, as you can see here, this is not the interface that you get when you first take your Miyoo Mini out of the box. This isn't the OS that it comes with. I had to install that. That's something that typically I prefer to avoid. I like the philosophy of being able to take a device out of the box, turn it on, and play right away, right? And with a lot of my devices, like it's the case with the RG351V here, Embernic's best so far for my money. This is my favorite Embernic device right now for retro gaming. It is a little bit more straightforward. I changed very little on the operating system on this device, and it was mostly just for cosmetics. I didn't really tinker that much with it. This thing, on the other hand, it took some tutorial reading and following YouTube videos and all these things, but in the end, way worth it. So let me go over the device itself. I'm going to turn it off here in case you missed it the first time around. So the Miyoo Mini is about almost exactly the size of a regular pack of playing cards, and of course my playing cards are going to be, of course, like is this any surprise whatsoever? I love this thing. I don't even play cards, but if I'm going to own a deck of cards, this is the one. Anyway, what a tangent. About the size of a deck of playing cards, and in fact, some in the community have reported that when looking for accessories like a case for the Miyoo Mini, what they do is they look for playing card holders on Amazon, and they find that the size is adequate for keeping your Miyoo Mini. Crap, the battery's dying. I gotta replace this. Give me a second. Where was I? Anyway, so yeah, the similarities are obvious. This looks like the Game Boy's little baby brother in all the right ways. It maintains a lot of the same design elements. What's this? Got some fluff in my hand. It maintains a lot of same. It maintains a lot of the same. The Miyoo Mini maintains a lot of the same device. The Miyoo Mini maintains a lot of the same. The Miyoo Mini. Why am I making so many mistakes on such a simple? The Miyoo Mini maintains a lot of the same design elements that you find on the DMG, like how the speaker grill is at a bit of an angle here on the corner, just like on the Game Boy. Never knew why they felt like doing this, but it's very iconic of the device. The orientation of the color buttons here on the side, the tilt of the start and select buttons here, and yeah, it's like it's great, much more portable and much more pocketable. On the top here, you have the indicator lights that'll show you when the device is on, or when it's charging, or when it's finished charging. There's an on-off switch here. All the buttons, by the way, feel a lot of quality to them. They're very clicky, but in a good way. I like that there's some heft to the Miyoo Mini in a way that lets you know that it's a premium device. Not always the case with these Chinese emulation devices. I have this guy here, and I forget who makes this exactly. I've already reviewed it. When I'm editing this, I'll remember the name of this guy. And here it is. It's the Powkiddy Q20. Powkiddy is a company known for making more affordable options in that portable emulation space, so that's what it is. That's why it does feel a little bit lighter. That's a common complaint of their products, but they are very fairly priced. So anyway, this right here, it feels a lot lighter. Like there's not as many components in there, like it's not made of as much stuff. And I'm not sure if this is just me, but whenever there's like some heft to the device, like it feels more solid. There's like, it's a little more satisfying. It feels more premium. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, one thing that I didn't like about this, you can probably tell there's a little bit of grime buildup there, but I don't know what it is. I baby this thing. I take very good care of it. So I'm not sure if the plastic is if there's something going on here chemically. I try to scrape it off with like a toothpick. Couldn't get much done, and I don't like the way it looks. I'm gonna try to think of a solution. If you can think of something, maybe let me know, because that's the only thing right now that kind of mars the look of this thing, because it looks so nice, right? On the back of the device, you have your dual shoulder buttons. You got a user replaceable battery here. Another problem with the design of this one. This is, by the way, the V1. This is the first Miyoo Mini they put out. I don't like how the battery kind of sits a little like loose here. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but I wedged a little piece of paper there to make sure that the battery's pushed a little tighter against the contacts here of the logic board, because it's just, I don't like how it was so loose. I'll put this back. On the bottom, you have the slot for the micro SD, the headphone jack, and the USB-C charging port. This only works for charging. You can't use this for reading the contents of the card, which is a bit of a bummer, because you have to take the card out to put in the computer to put new ROMs, and this is spring loaded, so I don't like pushing that little lock in the spring constantly. That's, you know, a moving part that I prefer to not mess around with if I can help it, but unfortunately not the case with the Miyoo Mini. It would be better if you were able to access the contents of the card when you plug this into your computer. Anyway, let's turn this sucker on. And the screen is beautiful. It's IPS. Doesn't have the absolute best viewing angles I've ever seen on a device, but it's still pretty good. A bit of a fingerprint magnet with the glossy finish on the screen, but you can't really do anything about that. I'm not using a screen protector on this thing. I probably should. Yeah, I'm gonna get on that, because if I get a scratch on the screen, it could happen. I actually fell on my morning walk today. I twisted my ankle on the side of the sidewalk. It was a little cracked, so I went down. I didn't have this with me. I had my 3DS with me. So, you know, what if this thing had jumped out of my pocket when I fell? Maybe I should invest in a screen protector for this. Anyway, what you're seeing here is Onion OS. This is a custom firmware developed by the community. So your Miyoo Mini will not come with this installed. Good news is, very simple to install, and what is a little different than I'm used to for these devices, it runs entirely off of the SD card. So, if I were to turn this off and take the SD card out, it's gonna boot into its regular operating system, but it's gonna be useless because, you know, all the games are here anyway. But I'm just doing this so you can see how different it looks. And it's not just the looks, like the theme is very basic. This is, when I first took it out of the box, this is what it looked like. It's okay, it's adequate, but there's no denying that the theme I picked, when I saw this on the little theme area in the settings here, I knew right then and there that's the theme I would use. Ironically though, because of the features of this operating system, I'm not always on this screen here, this main screen. So here you have recent. It's going to show you your recent titles, your favorites, so you can find your favorite games more easily. Under the game option here, you can explore all the systems it emulates, and it emulates far more than this. You can go into the settings and enable the extra emulators. I just like to keep it simple and just limit to the ones that I'm interested in playing right now. So that's what I have, although this is really triggering my OCD. So before we continue this review, this re-review, let's quickly go into the Onion installer, and then you can choose things that your device can do. So in consoles, I just gotta enable one here. I'm gonna do Atari 2600, just so that now I have 8 icons there. So let's go back and game, and there we go. I have 8 icons there. So we got the Atari 2600, GBA, Game Boy Color, regular Game Boy, Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive for the Europeans / I think everywhere else, right? Sega Genesis was just in North America. So for the rest of the world who's watching this, the Mega Drive, the NES, the Super NES, and PlayStation 1. And yes, this thing runs PlayStation 1 games very, very well, surprisingly well considering the specs and the size. Now, so far what I've showed you is not very different from the experience you get out of the box with the Miyoo Mini. Now, this thing shines when, let me see, for instance, I think to trigger into getting back to Onion OS mode, I have to turn it off and then turn it back on. And I'm not sure if taking the card out messed up something with the save features here, but it should boot me back into, let's see. I wonder. No, it's not gonna boot me right back into the game. I'm gonna have to go back into the game manually. So I'm gonna go into GBA here. And the last game I was playing was Advance Wars 2. Okay, so I'm gonna boot into the game. Instantly drops me right to where I left off. So that's cool. Now, here's what's really cool about Onion OS. If I turn this thing off, it'll save wherever I was. It's gonna take a screenshot of that moment, and then when I boot it back on, I'm right back in. If I press the middle button, this is what happens. It takes a screenshot of that moment and it drops me into an area where I can see all the games I was playing recently. So although I can tell here that, you know, I mess around with this thing a lot for making videos and stuff. I have to take the card out and back in. And I'm noticing here that it's having some trouble saving the time that I have here. So obviously I have some more time than 0. But yeah, for some reason it got, I think taking the card out and back in again, it erased all the time I had, all my playtime. A bit of a bummer. Not sure why this happened. Let me turn it off and on again and see if I can fix that. And yeah, so unfortunately, I must have done something wrong here with, and I suspect it was, you know, the taking the card and back in. For some reason, it erased my playtime. A bit of a bummer. Previously to shooting this video, I had some 26 hours, I think, on this. And that's after I installed Onion OS, because it didn't always track total amount of time that you've been playing. So I got Advanced Wars here. There's a little arrow here. If I press that, that's the game that I was playing before that, and that's Donkey Kong. And then before that, it was Mega Man X. Then before that, Street Fighter 2. Before that, Pokemon Red. So I'm gonna jump in real quick here. Just press the middle button there, and right there, I love this. This is one of the main selling features for me personally. The fact that I'm playing a game here, I press the middle button, it takes a screenshot, it saves my game back to the main screen, and I can just jump into any other game. So if I want to play a little bit of Donkey Kong, there we go, right back in. I love how fast that is, jumping from one game to the next. This is something that somebody like me, like I am riddled with ADHD, so I often lose focus on a game relatively quick, much quicker than most people would. So I like being able to play a little bit of this, a little bit of that, jump into the next one. It runs really well, and Donkey Kong is among one of the most challenging games to play on, oh crap, I forgot that guy, I can't really kill him. Okay, so I'm gonna say right here, right back, and there's Pokemon again, there's my Advanced Wars, Mega Man. So this is really, really cool. I love how fast you can jump back and forth between games. There's Mega Man X2 there. So again, press the button and back to the beginning. This is a game changer, I think. I don't think I own any emulation system that is this agile, that you can jump back and forth in between games so quickly. And that's not all. Another interesting thing that became available in the last update to Onion OS is, it's actually kind of interesting. It's a bit of a throwback, because out of the box, the Miyoo Mini doesn't have a sleep mode. And yes, that's pretty big oversight. When you press the button here, the screen will go off, but if you pay attention, like under the right lighting circumstances, you can tell that the screen is actually still on. It just turned off the backlight. So what that meant is that coming back to your game is literally instant. So like, I'm gonna go into this game here. So I'm playing Mega Man, right? I'm gonna press it just once. The screen went off. No sound, but it's there. So if I press it again, instantaneous. This is very fast, right? This is how it works out of the box. But the problem is, as I mentioned, because the screen is still running back there, this will kill your battery. And it took me a while to realize this. So I put it in my pocket, take it out, and the battery's dead. Didn't know why. I thought I had a bum battery. This is why. With Onion OS, you press and hold, and it does the thing where it saves, and it actually shuts down your device so you can put it in your pocket for an extended period of time, and you don't have to worry about the battery being drained by the time you pull it out. On the other hand, if you just want to put it away for a second and then get back into gaming, this is a bit slow, right? Like, it takes a while, it has to load the operating system. It takes a little while. So I like the fact that now, as of the latest Onion OS version, you have both. You can just have the screen go to sleep and then instantly bring it back, just like a phone, very, very fast. Or you can actually turn it off if you're going to put it away for a longer period of time. This is ultimately why I love this thing so much. The form factor is great. It feels great in the hand, though might be a little bit too small for some people. Not for me, thankfully. And it's so quick. The screen is bright and beautiful. The speaker is quite loud. I'm having it, you know, mostly off when I'm doing these videos because it really messes up with the microphone here. but it's surprisingly loud. Okay, let's see. Yeah, like, I love this. Being able to jump back and forth between games. Let me turn this down. Being able to jump back and forth between games is great. Like, none of my other devices allow me to do this. And this is something that really appeals to me. Being able to switch games quickly like that, especially if I'm showing it to somebody or even to shoot a video. You could probably tell that the aspect ratio here is incorrect because the Game Boy is a little bit more of a square and this thing is a little bit more wide like this. I prefer to deal with a little bit of distortion in the game than the black bars. I feel like the black bars are a bit of a waste. So yeah. This is powered by RetroArch, so there's different filters. There's a lot of different options. I am not very experienced with RetroArch. But I know that, for instance, I can change this color palette here to be just like pea soup green like the original Game Boy, and sometimes that's what I'm in the mood for. And again, with those sleep features, this is a very agile, very like quick, pick it up, play a little bit, put it back in my pocket. I love it. It's seriously awesome. It's not, like I said, I had some issues, right? At one point, the Onion OS just didn't want to work anymore. And then I found out that it had actually changed the folder name for RetroArch. Everything, all my content was here, but for some reason Onion OS, I had a crash. Oh, and by the way, I think this is something I need to mention because I have seen this mentioned on Reddit before. If you were to press the system really hard right here in the middle, like this, if I were to press right here, it'll turn off. And it was in one of these shut-offs that it kind of messed up the SD card. It was super easy to fix. I got home and fixed it right up. It was great. But during a really heated gameplay session, like if you're playing a very hard game that requires a lot of really quick inputs and you're getting tense and you're holding this thing really hard, it's happened a couple of times. I've seen it happening to other people. I thought it was because of that loose battery I mentioned in the beginning, right? Some people seem to believe that if you do this, this will not happen. I know for a fact that this is not the case. If I were to press this really hard, it will turn off the system, and the only reason I don't do it is because in one of these instances I had to rebuild the system on in the SD card, and that traumatized me a little bit, so I don't want to be doing this for the sake of the video, but I'm sure you believe me. Anyway, this is my Miyoo Mini review. It's been, I think, about 6 months, and this device only became better since it is widely supported by the community. It's been more popular than any other device I've ever used for emulation. And the proof for that is the fact that you can find a lot of accessories for this device. You cannot find as many for, say, the RG351V, which is a solid device, mind you. Like, these two are my go-to. And the only thing, and in fact, you know what? I'm going to save that for a different video. I'm going to talk about the situations where I prefer to have the RG351V and the situations where I prefer to have the Miyoo Mini. But again, this video is long enough as is. Let's save that for another day. If you have any questions about the Miyoo Mini, let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. And that's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy, and I'm done.